Thank you again for starting your week with me here. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Today is the dawn of a new era here at 5 minutes with Sean. We are going to our first online interview. This was awesome. I couldn't have picked a first guest to be better than what Dustin Corbett was. He was such a passionate man about all things from people to process and beyond. I'm telling you, you are absolutely going to enjoy everything you're about to watch. So grab a pen, grab your teammates, sit down, relax, and enjoy Dustin Corbett giving you all he's got to offer for the next couple of minutes. Have a great day. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Today is different. It's a little bit weird. You can see I'm joined on the screen by my man, Dustin Corbett. Dustin, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So here's the thing. We've decided to change the format. Everyone knows I'm an in-person guy, but given the state of our union as is, this is how we're operating. So Dustin's our first, and those are always fun. We're gonna go have some laughs, talk about what's really going on here. So Dustin, for the folks who don't know you, why don't you give us a quick background history on you, my friend?
Sure. Been in the business, my goodness, probably now just about 11 years. Started out selling cars literally during cash for clunkers time. So I kind of fell into a trap. Had no idea what I was doing, but started to make some money. I came from a little bit of a rougher background. We won't get into that. So when I started making a little money, I was like, my goodness, I was caught, stuck in the business, as a lot of us car people are. We have no idea how we got here, but we're here and we have nowhere else to go. Sold cars for a few years, got promoted to finance, was absolutely terrible. I'll be honest, that was not for me. Got a sales manager gig, found out my girlfriend at the time was pregnant. We needed some more money, so I really had to start making moves. And I got an opportunity to be a general sales manager and took it from there. I've been a general manager for probably 6-7 years now. Just moved back home 2 years ago to family because my wife and I have two little boys who are everything to us, and we were down in New Jersey for almost 4 years with no family, and it was hours and hours away from everybody. So we moved back up here. We're stationed here. We just got ourselves a house, and we're rolling and loving life.
So that's awesome, man. Here's a couple of things that I love about it. First of all, how long were you in F&I?
Less than a year.
Okay.
To be quite frank with you, I went back to selling cars. The first and only move that was never a forward move for me in my career, but I just tell how it is, and it's the truth. So I'll never tell you that I didn't make a backwards move, because I absolutely freaking did.
Good. People ask me all the time. I categorize it the worst 9 months of my automotive career.
Yes.
I'm not fit for that. I'm not a guy who can sit in the box and just paperwork.
Right.
That's not an environment for me. That's not something I appreciate. And then there's a lot of dotting I's, crossing T's. Once again, I'm not your guy for that.
No.
I'm your guy to just keep things moving, keep everybody.
Oh.
But if
Organized chaos.
Yeah, if you need it dotted, call somebody else, because I'm not the dotter of the
That's right.
You know what I mean? I write the I, I just don't dot it, right?
That's right.
So I love that. You started with Cash for Clunkers. That's interesting, right? Because you get in with Cash for Clunkers and the world looks unbelievable, right? People are throwing cars at you. There's trade values through the roof. You're holding MSRP on vehicles. You're thinking to yourself, where have I been? What have I been missing? And I got in the car business in '98, and I had a couple of really high-end, great years, and then 9/11, right? And that kind of puts you right in your feet. Cash for Clunkers then again put me back on my feet. Now, Dustin, here we are today in probably the weirdest moments of our lives.
No doubt.
Just in general,
This
right?
is first of all, yes, it seemed as if the car business was just completely easy, and there was nothing to do. Just go to the showroom and hang out for 10, 12 hours and make a ton of money. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Now, the whole adage of, stay green, I still think is true. But regardless, even the veterans, even the seasoned guys, every single deal, if you wanted a discount, I'm sorry, there's literally 3 or 4 people lined up behind you for that same car. So I got suckered in. But now, we just got turned upside down, bro. We just got slammed on our head. We had absolutely no idea how to plan for this. You can't. And there's no rule book. I said in a post the other day on LinkedIn, there's no rule book. There's no playbook for this. None of us have absolutely any idea how to get ready for anything like this. And we're just playing it on the fly. And starting last week, things were changing every 30 minutes, it seemed.
It was hourly, dude. It was absolutely wild. Now, you are in New York, yeah?
Yes.
So we're talking epicenter of the whole deal. Your life is everything's changing moment to moment to moment. I believe you just got word of something. Life just changed previous to you and I coming on here today. Real quick, just touch on it. What has changed now in your world versus yesterday?
Yeah, so fortunately, you were gracious enough to push this call back 30 minutes or so, because about 45 minutes ago, 15 minutes before 3 o'clock, the government, fortunately, our partners, Toyota, were the first ones to get in touch with us and start shooting emails with the new order that was placed from the government of New York, Cuomo, that we are now deemed an essential business. So the way that New York was going, listen, we're 3+ hours away from New York City and upstate New York. So we are not New York City by any stretch, but when it comes to government laws and rules, we have to follow suit. So
you share the same state. I mean, I live further up in Wisconsin, but I still got to listen to what Wisconsin wants me to do, right? So,
correct. So
I totally get that.
So we were following their laws and their rules. We obviously don't want to get anybody in trouble, caught. We would never do anything that we shouldn't be doing. That's just not how we do business. But they just deemed us essential. So I just got to make the best phone call that I've made in a week or 10 days to a couple of our employees that we're bringing back tomorrow. They're allowing us to do remote sales via internet or phone. Sorry, my light's on a timer there. And do remote interaction with customers, and then actually do live deliveries. So we can pretty much do an entire deal now. And we are super, super pumped about that. Literally 45 minutes ago it came out. So I'm extremely excited.
That's awesome, because you're able to come and now you're able to make the call, because obviously it was a difficult call to make in the first place. Having to tell people, hey, look, this is how it is. This is what we're dealing with. Everyone kind of go home. Now you're able to say, hey, one or two of you, let's come back. Let's talk. How many hours are we going to work, right? Let's talk about what are we really dealing with. Before you and I came out, we touched on a couple of things I want you to kind of talk about publicly. One, talk to me about what's happened with lead volume or just opportunity volume over the last 2 weeks. Let's just put it back to St. Patty's Day, right? I mean, you look at it 10 days-ish. What was that? What's it been like for the volume, and kind of what have you seen from where you sit?
So we were told last Thursday, I believe, that we would have to close our sales operations effective Saturday evening. Actually Sunday, but we're closed on Sundays here. So effective Saturday evening. That Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we had the busiest 3 days we've probably had in 8 months.
Really?
And I'm not kidding you. There were people everywhere, customers, both leads, online, phone calls.
Because of the word, you think, Dustin? Or
I would have to assume so, because we could kind of see the writing on the wall. So the way that it worked for New York, we went from obviously the national state of emergency that Trump gave us, and then we went to a 75% of your employee base could be there. 25, you had to have work remotely as a state, and then it went to 50, and then the very next day it went to 25, and then before you know it, almost within hours, it went to 0 and completely closed down. So I think that people, at least in our area, the consumer can see the writing, or saw the writing on the wall, and just figured like, oh my goodness, if we don't do this, who the hell knows when we will. So I think that had a lot to do with why the spike in business happened. But then come Monday of this week, and I've been here because I'm not deemed sales, I'm in my office now. We're probably at about, like we were saying, probably a 15 to 20% of our average lead volume throughout this week. It's been slow. It's been rough. Now, my plan was to, and we've done a little bit of this, I've been able to do is a little bit, my main focus was to have the people that I had to have the roughest conversation with that I've ever had in my career, and tell them that they were no longer allowed to work. I wanted to at least try to fill their pipelines as best as I could. So I've been running around like a complete madman for this week, trying to sell cars so they had something to deliver as soon as they got back. it wasn't going to be much, and it hasn't been much. But the point is that it's been really tough because of our people, and they're more important to me than any dollar bill that I'm going to make, throughout this time. And fortunately, we're going to start to be able to sprinkle them back in. We're not going to be full blown, in the beginning, but I think this is a good sign, and we're going quicker than what most thought we would.
Man, I got to tell you, you talk about the people, and I see behind you is the DC bobblehead.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah. And so that story you told online a couple of days ago, that really is what I've been trying to see more of, that sort of uplifting team unity, because look, every decision we make right now is the hardest decision probably any of us have had to make. But in order to survive, these decisions have to be made. It isn't like I want to do the things I've been doing, but I have to. And the same thing happened in 2008 when I ran stores. It was like, look, guys, I don't want to have to do this with y'all, but we're going to have to. In order to come out the other side and a chance to employ you in 6 to 8 months from now, we have to do this. This is something completely different. This is something you can't. It's almost 9/11 and 2008 mixed together in this terrible,
kind of combined,
sort of mixed bag of shit, right? Because who wants to live in this world? However, we don't have any choice.
Yeah.
It's just not like, well, we could. No, you can't, right?
Yeah.
So the news today, Dustin can get back selling cars. How by percentages, how much of the staff will be returning to work given where you're at with how much work they have to do?
Yeah, so that was a conversation we just had. We don't know what's going to come, so we don't know how much business is going to just, the faucet I don't think is just going to be turned on. I hope it does, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So we're going with, myself will still be here. We're going with our general sales manager, and we're bringing in our internet BDC agent and a detailer currently. So being that we can't have any floor traffic, any showroom traffic, and it's all done remotely, that's what we feel is of utmost necessity, and obviously followed by what hopes to be the floodgates and full staff come next week, but we don't know this.
Right, and it's tough, right? Because even if it does, you still have an order for your state as far as that goes. As far as still the amount of people who can go anywhere, do anything, most of them got to be in their homes, the gathering size, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And we will get there. It will happen. But how has you guys are all straight commission, I assume, right? Your sales floor?
That's correct.
Yeah. So when these guys aren't at work, there's nothing to be had. What conversations are you still having with those guys? What are they up to, and are they chomping at the bit to get back? Or are they having to go look in other directions to do things maybe they weren't, whatever they weren't going to do before? How has that been going?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And I think if I may just take a few minutes and kind of hit on what you had just said, going back to this little guy over here.
Yeah.
When these conversations are not easy to have with your people. I've never had to have these, but now that I have, I realize that they're absolutely the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. Now, that being said, what I feel that we do a really good job of here, not planning for this. So we don't do what we do knowing that something like this is going to happen. We just do it because it's who we are. But I feel that we do a really good job of creating and having a culture within our building to where I was surprised by the reaction from every single one of the employees that I had to sit down and have the conversation that they can no longer come to work on a daily basis. I think, and I hope, and I'm not saying this, I'm not touting myself up to some, genius, but what I'm saying is I think that no one took it to the point that I thought they were going to take it, because I feel that they respect and they understand what we had to do. And they realize that if there was any way that I could possibly keep them on board and not allow this to happen, that I would have done it. I would jump in the traffic. I would pay them out of my pocket. I would, whatever it is, but they know that I feel that way about them, and they know that our ownership feels the same about all of their employees. So that being said, when this conversation happened, it's almost as if we were crying together. They were not mad at us, because they knew, and they still know, that when they're sitting at home right now doing absolutely, excuse my language, fucking nothing, which really pisses me off, that they know that I am in the building crying with them, and I'm busting my butt to try to get stuff and make it better for them. So I'm hurt with this too, as is our ownership and our top level management. They know that we're in this with them. Just because we're here at work does not mean that I'm not being affected because our people are not here with us. That hurts me more than anything, but they know that. So that being said, when we come back to work, they know that we have their best interest in mind. And I think that's bigger than anything, man. I mean, this guy over here, like, I didn't even know this was coming. I had absolutely no idea, no clue. I love it, by the way. It's the coolest gift I ever got in my life. Yeah, but awesome. I'm crying with the people, man. So what I'm doing when they're home?
Right here.
I'm getting text. You see a text right here. I'll tell you who it's from. Yep, my salesperson. His name is Kirk. He's calling insurance for a customer. I'm outside next to cars. I sold a car today over the phone, and I'm outside doing I don't know if you've heard of the company Co-Video. We use this. They're phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For them. I'm not getting paid. I'm outside, and I send this Co-Video to every one of my employees. Tell them what I'm doing. Tell them what's going on. How are you guys? I'm helping them in the unemployment world, trying to make sure that their claims get done. I'm reading articles, trying to see if there's any student loan forgiveness, and sending it over to them. I'm in touch with them. They're my family, bro. And just because they're going through this doesn't mean that I'm better off because I'm working. That's the point that I think everybody needs to understand is these people, we're nothing. I am terrible without my people. And that's the bottom line. So I'm keeping in touch with them, keep them moving. And when I call them and tell them, you're on, let's fucking go, baby. They're going to be so thrilled and so excited. Sorry to go on that rant, but that's what we've been doing.
That's exactly what I want, right? That's exactly what I want to hear, because right now, what people don't realize is that culture is something that isn't trained. It isn't given by an outside force. It is only an internal force. It doesn't, I don't care what people say, oh, we can change your culture. That's probably a load of bullshit. Unless everyone is really ready to change their culture. So the things that you've set up over the last couple of years, in getting your things to where you want them to be as a manager, as an owner, as a director, whatever it is, all the things we've been doing to set up, this is when it pays dividends. And this is when you know where you stand with your people. There are humongous groups. We have a large group here in Madison, Wisconsin, Zimrick Automotive. They closed their door. State can allow them to be open. They closed their doors and agreed to pay their employees for 10 days. Get the dealerships clean, go do things their own way, get things kind of straightened up in the head. And then when it's come back to work, as much as staff he can bring back, he's going to bring back.
Yep. And
these people knew it. And here's the thing, Dustin. Right now, I don't get the feeling a lot of people trust their local or federal governments. I just don't get that feeling. Okay, talking to people, I think there's too much misinformation. There's too much this. But you know what I hear all the time? I hear everyone I talk to say, but my ownership this, my ownership that. I trust my owner with my life. And those are the things that resonate with me. Those are the things that give me goosebumps, because that's the shit that matters, because that's how I felt in 2008. That's how I felt after 9/11. The people I work for, man, I must have been lucky, because there was no one better to be working for in that moment than those people. And those are the owners that deserve as much financial help, as much I don't give a shit what it is. Anything you can do to help these owners who have put it up, make it work. What's currently available to them as far as the furlough goes and some of the tax incentives, a bit of a joke. I mean, honestly, for these guys, the size of these businesses, but hey, man, they got your back. So Dustin, with your owners, what has their tone been to you, and what have those discussions been like for you?
Yeah, okay. So we've pretty much mastered the art of these Zoom calls, which is a good thing. And if we're going to take a good thing out of this, which I think we all should, is that I think this form of communication is going to blow up because of what we've been forced to do. I think it's going to actually pay dividends. But as far as the conversation that we've had with them on a daily basis has been, let's make our people whole as best we can. And every decision that's been made with this auto group, and I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I'm speaking of them because I'm an employee of theirs. Every decision that they've made has been with their employees in mind. And we are all fortunate to work for this group, because that is the only thing that matters to them as well. That's it. So now, can we just completely fall flat with the expenditures? No, but the employees that work here understand that, and that's my point that I was saying. So on a group-wide level, the only thing that mattered, or the main thing that mattered, were the employees, and that's why the response from our employees have been that good. I don't want to call it good, but it's almost like I was ready for a different response, and we didn't get it. We didn't get what I thought we were going to get.
You probably expected some pushback. You probably expected a little bit of negativity, a little bit of why would you do this to me? That's just kind of natural reaction. But the reality is, if you're really looking at the situation, it's not a you thing. It's a community thing. It's everyone you know is experiencing this in different ways and different things. Now, you talked about the finances. Obviously, as you know, that's what our company focuses on every single day for our clients. Let's talk about it, because we talked about it a little bit before we hit record on this thing. What about finance, as far as how have you been handling your marketing budget as of today, as far as how much less are you spending? I don't need to know dollar figures, just by percentages if you don't mind. And then from there, how do you anticipate either building it back up, or is this sort of helping you potentially validate things in a different way now that you have this opportunity? So how do you view that?
That's a great point. We actually made a stance to pretty much cut out just about 90% of what we were spending, especially when we got word that we were closed down completely. Our building here is a little unique because, especially with the addition of Kia in October of 2019, we have a little bit of an older building and we don't have that big of a service department. So we really don't spend much money for service. I have more work than I can get to, which is a good problem. But we don't spend much advertising or marketing dollars for service. So we pretty much cut down to dang near zero 10 days ago. And we'll see what happens starting tomorrow. But ultimately, I don't feel that the decrease of business that we've had has been to that. But I don't know. The bottom line was, even if we kept on spending, sorry, my lights again, even if we kept on spending, we could have set up potentially, I don't know, a little bit more of a pipeline, although we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now anyways. It's only been 4 days. But we couldn't deliver these damn cars anyways. And nobody can within hundreds of miles. Right. So that was our thought. Like, it wasn't just by our choice to close down or shut down the sales department, but the state had allowed us to stay open. If that was the case, well, then the money spent might have made a difference here. But we can't deliver cars, nor can anybody, and including our bordering state here, Pennsylvania. So where we're located, you'd have to drive 8 hours to get to another state that'll allow a retail deal. Wow. So, our ultimate decision was that the money doesn't need to be spent right now. And we hope that we have a good enough name within our community to where when people are back on their feet and when this thing turns around, that they're going to be coming to us anyways.
How do you guys view that ramp-up period?
Personal level, I think it's going to be completely nuts. But I didn't think that where we are today, based on our phone call an hour ago, that we'd be even at remote sale and able to deliver cars this quickly either. So I thought it was going to be a month or 2 months or maybe even 90 days of no business, to which then I thought the pent-up demand would create a complete blow up when we got back and able to sell cars. So it might change a little bit. If it's only 4 or 5 days without being able to sell a car, it's going to be a little different than what I originally planned. Again, to your point, John, this thing was fluid. It changes every hour still. So I'm not 100% certain with that.
It really does. So here we are. We're at the remote sale part of our discussion. And I obviously have a history with digital retail. I'm a loud voice in the space as far as I think it's a little overblown. I think it's a little unnecessary. And of course, over the last 10 days, I've seen all the articles about how it's going to save us all and make everything fine. And, you should have been with us before nonsense. Dustin, how many of your customers are asking you to complete transactions in their homes or even in their driveways?
In this period, 0.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Literally not a single one.
Interesting. So let me guess.
It's been offered to all of them.
Your ear hurts because you're blowing up your phone selling cars by your phone.
Correct.
Yeah. That's interesting. And you've always had your phone, right? Like, yeah, okay. That's
The
not
phone is not a new thing. That's correct. That's correct.
I'm just making sure I understand how phones and digital retail work. I get confused sometimes, so
No
I just
doubt.
want to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that answer is 0. And the cars that we have sold in this blackout period, I'll call it, have all started with a phone call or an email, but then the email led to a phone call anyways, which then led to another email with price quotes. So
which then
leads to another phone call.
Yeah, then led to commitments and more phone calls.
Right.
I mean, yeah, dude. Again, and you could sell cars that way 10 years ago. You could sell them 10 years further down the line that way. So it's not
100%.
Really, yeah,
100%, bro. What I don't like, and I know you're a firm stance on this, what I don't like is when people say, let's not give pricing over the phone. Let's not appraise a trade or give them a ballpark or anything over the phone. I mean, what?
What the fuck are you doing?
What are you talking about, bro?
What's the point of being open? If all
right.
someone hears is, yeah, you're gonna have to come in for that. Oh, your leverage. Oh, wait. Your presence is your best leverage.
Yeah. Your presence is your leverage. 100%. 100%. Now, listen, that's
so stupid.
I don't get it. Now, if I were to tell you the gross profit on a daily or a deal by deal basis on a phone call or an email lead that's worked via the internet up until delivery versus a fresh showroom up or what have you, or repeat customer, well, the profit's not going to be the same. So I'll admit that, and it hasn't been. But that doesn't mean don't sell the fucking car.
But it hasn't been since the dawn of the internet. So I just want to be clear that what you're talking about is something that has been experienced the entire time. Now, you said you've been in 11 years, right? So I agreed with you a little bit. And the reality is nothing has changed. Even in 1999, when someone came to me and said, Sean, we don't know what Auto Trader is, but they're faxing us shit and go sit in the corner and figure it out. Okay, I did. And it was still the same thing. Phone call, and then typing a weird AOL connected email. So, dude, that's interesting. So do you see this whole thing having a long-term change to the way we do business? Because this is what I'm hearing a lot of. I'm hearing a lot of how, oh my God, this is the dawn of a new day with social distancing going on forever. Social distancing to me just means appointment-only sales, which I prefer anyways, which is kind of my bag. I would rather my clients come in that way to begin with. So how do you see this long-term as far as this catastrophic change to how we all, I know it feels that way now. Fuck it. The world has changed, dude. Like I just went to the grocery store today and I felt like, why am I out here? Like, it's built up, right? It's built up fear that it's not based in anything. I don't really, I can stay in my house. I built my business that way. I built my life that way. So I get it. But how do you guys see kind of the reemergence?
So I think there's some good that we're going to take out of this. For instance, like what we were just talking about and us, right? I mean, hey man, I got something to bring to my grave. I was the first remote podcast guest. I appreciate it.
The first 5 minutes with Sean.
That's right, baby. Hell yes. That's right. Nobody can take that away.
But that's why I picked you, because you're big energy, so I don't have to worry about trying to like pick up and drive down. So this would be more explosive if we were sitting here, but this is
yes, it would, I'm sure. But that's okay. It's all good. I think that this is going to create the ability to actually do more interaction with a customer, but not on the online from soup to nuts buying platform because of what we're just talking about. Right. But if we're giving a person another way and another outlet to communicate with us, and quite frankly, I'm a human interaction person. I want to shake your hand. I want to give you a hug. And I think that the vibes within a room or on a desk, between humans, body language is a lot. I always talk with my hands. Everybody thinks that I'm freaking out, but I think there's something to be said with that. So what's the next best thing? Well, it's live video.
Yeah.
So I think this can be taken out. We created a Zoom account for our store last week that we were going to push out in the event our sales department didn't get closed to do just this with customers. Free of charge, very easy platform. It's Williams Toyota of Elmira and Williams Kia of Elmira. And we were going to actually do this more and promote this with our customers so they can get a little bit more out of us and get what they need before they make it in. But they're always going to want to come in. And this is considered a phone call. This is not, I'm going to make my own payment. This is not, I'm going to structure my own deal and tell you what my interest rate's going to be, which is complete fucking bullshit because there's about 15 different 700 credit scores. One's going to get a 3% rate. The other one's not even going to get fucking approved. So I'm over that shit. Sorry, I'm cursing, but I can't do it anymore.
Hey man, hey, we do not allow this on this program. That is not a business. I got the producer over here. She's wanting to put a cut on this whole thing right now with the mouths that are coming out. You know what I mean? We don't do that here. I don't know where you got that fucking idea, but we do not do that here. But dude, you're right. I think the energy of the Zoom conference is something that people will understand, and you were going to push it out as an opportunity. You have co-video, so you have the one way. I know I've heard rumors Co is working on a live streamish type platform deal to dive into. I've heard.
Didn't know that. Okay.
I don't have that confirmed by my folks over there at all. It's what I've heard. Because obviously that is what this represents, right? Is this opportunity to be able to live stream with someone. Dude, if you and I had to, now I think you're on a computer, eh?
I am.
And I'm on my laptop as well. But we could have done this from here.
100%.
It would have been super weird and a lot of noses and fucking mouths, but we could have done it from there.
Absolutely.
Right? Zooming in. This is how we can talk to our customers with their car in the background. And I mean, it's something that if that's what changes out of this, and less people waste time in their showrooms, more people spend time doing this before they get to the showroom, I'm all about it. That's awesome.
Fine. Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, I love myself an internet lead deal that loses $300.
Okay.
I'm being dead serious. And you and I have had the conversation. We're a growth store. We sell 115 cars a month. We are not a big store. Right. You know, I lived and worked in New Jersey in a Chrysler store in central New Jersey for 4 years. That was a bigger store. This is not that. But so we live on growth, and I love the fact that I'm stealing market share, and I didn't have to do anything besides match a deal or give a number that took 15 freaking minutes.
Right. You might even have to match a deal. You might just be the first one to say it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. And
if
that's free. That's free business, my friend. Like when people run away from this shit, I don't get it.
If that's what changes out of this whole thing, is that dealers finally now realize that call for price, leverage in person bullshit. Like if we don't realize that's not a thing anymore, that would be cool. I would welcome.
That's good for the business.
Such an idea.
That's great for the business and even better for the customer. Maybe not so good for me because I will then have more competition. But that's okay. If it's better for all the customers, I mean, listen, I'm in. We live and breathe off of leads, man. I mean, if you don't do it, I don't get it. We have a very successful, at least I would like to say, where there's always room for improvement. But our internet department, our agent Allison, she for the last 10 months. Leading up to the end of the year, she was at 23% closing ratio on all leads that are in her name. You know, she's doing a pretty good freaking job, but it's not because she's just some wizard and everybody that calls or emails in or does a form submission or whatever the case is, she can just bamboozle to the point where she gives them no information and they show up. That's not how she does it. Sorry. You know, there's no secret sauce to this.
No, she's at 23% because she's giving people what they want.
That's it.
She's answering questions. I assume that was the reference. So Allison, is that her name, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Allison, is that one of the agent? That's the agent returning to work here tomorrow?
Amen.
The star is back. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So what does she do? She doesn't run her own deals.
No.
She doesn't work her own deals. She comes to myself or the general sales manager and says, this is what I got in front of you. We run a lease. We do not list it at Amazon. You know, we give a really aggressive number and there we go.
How do you handle trade appraisals? Do you just do a gap?
Well, so we have with our web provider, we have an online e-trade appraisal tool that is powered by KBB. I like the fact that on the bottom right-hand corner, it says powered by KBB because I think it gives them third-party validation to customers when it says KBB and not Williams Toyota. So that does range them, yes. And that is by far, Sean, by far the number one website lead attribution to us monthly is trade appraisal, e-auto trade.
So e-auto trade appraisals come in, your team gets it. Now in the trade appraisal, do you run into acquisition only or is everyone trying to acquire a new vehicle?
99% looking at a new vehicle.
Got it. Okay, cool. So
which I'd like to.
Not like the trade-in center shit or the buying center shit on the other side.
No.
This is just straight up trade tool, boom, powered. Got it. So what do you think the reason for the higher elevation and close rate versus your standard website lead or anything else? Why do you think that's the case?
I'd bring it to a few things. I think that we are completely upfront with our numbers. And as long as that car is not wadded up or turns out to have obviously a bad Carfax or frame or mileage inconsistency or anything, any one of those things that are obviously clear indications that a number that you get for your trade is not going to hold up in the event that you didn't tell the system this. But every single time, and we talk about this even with the sales manager and the sales staff, if they come in and they've come in on this fashion, well, then your number better not be lower than that, because you're just telling them that what we're telling them online is complete malarkey, and that's bullshit too. So we're telling them this, and that's what they're getting. And again, it's just clean and open. I know transparency, big buzzword, everybody wants to say it. We are transparent as all hell, but the truth of the matter is, if you tell them something online, whether it's verbal or not, you better back that up. And if you do, it makes a seamless transaction. It's very simple. It's really freaking easy, I gotta tell you.
It's pretty incredible. You know, when we sit here and we break it down all the way down, we see just how simple and easy it truly can be. Look, man, you've been super gracious with your time. I'm not going to take up too much more of it. But let me just kind of, bring this all together and let's just, Dustin, talk to me about right now. Talk to me about give me two things, man, that really stand out to you, what you've noticed over the last 2 weeks. Just about our industry in general. What is really top of mind for you?
So happy you asked that question. Two things is I actually have, and I don't want to mess around with my camera now, but I have a whiteboard in my office that, being that our staff is not here as we normally are, the amount of phone calls and things that I've taken on has led me to believe the amount of standard BS that everybody in the building actually has to deal with on a daily basis. Banks, payoffs, insurance, calling people 15,000 times before you get anything. It's given me a reinvigoration of appreciation for what everybody in the dealership goes through to make me fucking look good. I don't do these small, tedious things like I used to, although I did at one point, and it's almost as if I forgot how shitty they are to do, but if they're not done, we're all gonna crumble. So I literally have them written down on a whiteboard. I'll take a picture and text it to you. I'm going to first and foremost hug everybody when they get back here and say thank you. And every time that I ask you to do something and it's not done in 3 minutes, I realize how much you are actually doing. Now, also, I've seen some really repetitive, small mistakes that we have been making that I don't, or I wouldn't notice, that I think that we need to slow down a little bit on a per transaction, per deal, whatever basis, to make sure all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted, although Sean Welsh doesn't dot I's, nor do I. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it, bro. Yes, exactly. And second to that, so a new appreciation, getting me back going and realizing what everybody does on a daily basis to make me all the fucking money and look good and all this other stuff. And B, we need to slow it down and just be tighter with everything. And finally, I got to tell you, the vendor retail relationship has been put on new heights with me from almost 100% of people that we do business with, because of the pure, what I think, appreciation of their relationship with us and us. We had to ask, I think, one. Yeah, I believe it was one vendor for a suspension of pay and product or service until further notice. Every other one of them did it without us asking. They're calling. They're saying, how are you? I don't want to talk about business. How are your people? Holy shit. My word. Tim Rowe just said it on LinkedIn an hour and a half ago. Can we please just take out of this that we're all humans and we should all fucking love each other? And let's get back to making a phone call and seeing how your families are doing. I am so in, because I haven't had this amount of conversations with people that I truly actually fucking love. There's a lot of people who I make relationships with who I'm actually like, hey man, I'd like to go out and grab a beer with you. Yeah. We're all doing this together because, like you said before, Sean, at some level, every single person in America, for the most part, is affected by this one way or the other. And we're actually having the well-beings of everybody else in our circles, in our forefront and in the top of our head, in our mind, and we're actually caring about people. And it's actually refreshing.
Dude, I got to tell you, that's why I picked you. You're big energy. You're to the point. You're an honest guy. I love the fact that you want to talk about appreciation. I think that's number one concern for anybody right now should be the appreciation we have for others. Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Process changes or process concerns, no time better than the present than
True.
to dig in and redo it. Clean it up. It doesn't have to be what it has been.
Exactly.
And this is a chance to clean house. I don't have any problem with that. And as far as the vendor relationship goes, man, look, that has been a crazy road. Obviously, again, that's where our business sits in this industry. And so we've been on phones for what feels like 3 weeks, banging on these doors, banging on heads, trying to get people to see it. And I'm glad to be a part of the movement that's gotten people to 50%. And it's not going to stop. And we're going to keep pushing. Do I have concerns about how quickly some people drop their rate 50%? Sure, I do. It's odd how quickly it can happen or give away free months with some of these companies. But if we're all just trying to do the right thing, then to me, I'm all about it. So
if it's coming from the right place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know where you're going, and I didn't really want to go there, but I totally understand what you mean.
No, it's just a little bit. That's all it is, and you got to take the good with the bad. So, Dustin, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. But above all that, man, thank you for being the leader and voice that you are today for our industry, but more importantly for your people, man. It's awesome to see, and I'm going to continue to follow it from a distance. And there will be a day where we can get this in a room. We're going to do that, man. So
100%.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled. Thank you.
No problem, man. As everybody knows, you guys can find us everywhere. Podcasts are live. Go ahead, sit down, listen to this one again because it was a great time. Thanks again. Have a great day.